How many bad reviews before you're out of the game? Hey everybody, Ben from JobNimbus here, the Building Business channel. I've got Cam from Podium today, and we want to talk a little bit about reputation because this is so critical for your business. How important is reputation?
It's very important. So think about just whether, if you're a consumer and you're searching for anything, like again, whether it's a product, whether it's a service, again, we're in the services business, right? And someone needs their roof repaired or some sort of service to their home. They're going to notice whether that's a leak or maybe they've recently had a home inspection, whatever it might be. And what do you think the first thing they're going to do is? They're going to pull out their phone and they're going to start to Google. And the way that all these sites have it arranged is your reputation as a business is going to be one of the first things that pops up that customer is going to see. So again, right out of the gate, we're being trained as consumers to look at a business's reputation, look at those 5 golden stars and figure out, is this someone that I want to work with or not?
Your rating, when you see that rating on Google, that's what most people are using to define your reputation as the first step.
So that's going to be their first impression, right? It's who pops up first, and then what is it? Then who pops up? What do they look like? Yep. What is their rating? What is really? There's 3 factors that come into play when someone's considering your reputation as a business, especially online. And first off, it's your star rating.
Okay.
So out of 5 stars, what is your rating look like?
What's your best practice there? Like,
yeah,
anything lower than 2 is terrible. What is it?
So here, there's actually been a recent adjustment in the Google search algorithm.
Oh wow.
So here's some breaking news. When somebody types in, let's put the example, best roofer near me.
Yep.
When they put in that term best, Google's automatically going to filter out any business that has below a 4-star rating.
Whoa.
So you will not show up in that search ranking if you have a below 4-star rating.
So you get a 3.9, you're just not even in the game anymore.
Well, so again, if they're typing in that best, that word
that's what
best,
I mean. No,
then
that's
you're
what a
not
lot of
even
people
in
are
the game.
doing.
And that is a search result, or I guess the quantity that people are typing that in is increasing like by 100% year over year. So it's becoming more and more common.
Yeah, I know a lot of times when I don't know anything about a certain service industry or sector and I need service there, the first thing I do is type in best. Maybe it's kind of dumb, but I think, well, I just want to know the best ones and I'll just trust Google to figure that out. So they're using the rating as a big part of that algorithm.
They are. Yep. So that rating is going to be one of the first things. So that 4.0 rating has kind of become the new standard that you want to make sure you're showing up as often as possible. So that's kind of one of the first things you want to take care of.
So that's the first factor. What's the second?
Okay, so the second one's going to be quantity, right? So now we're trained as a consumer to look at the quantity of reviews, because if you only have 10 reviews and you have a 5-star or 4-star,
reviews and you're 5-star and nobody believes it.
Versus the competitor that maybe even has a lower ranking, but they have more ratings. What that's indicating to that consumer is that, wow, more people trust this business or have taken the time to leave this business a review than maybe this person that has a better star rating. So that quantity is going to be another important factor as you look at your reputation online.
Okay, so is there a best practice for the number that really gets you into a decent, is it 100, is it 50?
That's a good question. So there isn't really like a magical number, right? So more tends to always be better, but there's actually a new metric within the algorithm, or newer metric, that starts to make quantity a little less relevant. And let me explain why. So it's the concept of frequency. So one of the things that Google and these other search algorithms are I guess, analyzing is how frequently are your customers either talking about you online or leaving a review. So a business that collected 400 reviews 3 years ago, even though the quantity says 400, if they haven't been collecting reviews more recently, then it's not going to weigh in as much as maybe the business that only has 100 reviews, but they've gotten all of those within the last year.
Yeah.
So the overall quantity is important, but if you're not getting frequent reviews and managing that reputation frequently, then it starts to lose its value over time. So consistency becomes significantly more important than just overall quantity.
Wow, okay. Yeah, so you spend a bunch of money and maybe some third party goes and collects hundreds of reviews. You're gonna see some benefit of that for quite a while, and then it's gonna just slowly trail off. And by a year later, that's almost wasted time unless you're continuing to add more reviews.
Well, so it's interesting. That's where I think the term manage probably doesn't adequately describe what you really need to do for your reputation. We always say you need to weaponize your reputation.
Ooh, I love that. Love it.
Because most businesses, right, they know the importance of reviews. They know they need to get them, especially in the services industry, right? Like If the service is what you're selling, you want to make sure you have good reviews. But the biggest challenge most businesses face is they've either run a contest with their employees or they've been really proactive for a short period of time to get that star rating up, get those quantity reviews, but it's not a long-term strategy. So again, they managed it for a short period of time, but it wasn't a way to actually weaponize it. And that's where, again, our belief is that a proactive strategy that's consistent, that you're executing on month over month, is really how you weaponize that reputation. You stay high on the search rankings, and you tell to all those potential customers out there that you're someone they want to do business with.
So it's really about consistency in some ways.
Yeah.
Like, you've just got to keep getting those coming in. It's like a constant trickle.
Yeah. Yeah, so again, we've talked to some business owners who are like, I'm good, I've got a 4.5 star rating.
Yep.
They spike the ball in the end zone and then they forget about it. And again, that star rating may not change, but it's that frequency metric that, again, if you're not consistent, that's what starts to ding you over time and where you'll start to fall in those rankings. So yeah,
Okay, so
it really
what's
is all
the
about
third
consistent.
factor to this then?
Well, so again, I think as I highlighted, star rating,
Yep.
quantity of reviews,
Yep.
and then frequency, or the other term you'll
Okay.
hear is recency. Those are the top three things
Gotcha.
you're going to want to focus on as far as managing your reputation. But again, that frequency piece is where you can weaponize your reputation and start to really, I guess, stand out from the crowd as you're getting that consistent volume month over month.
Okay. So reputation is super important. This is how Google analyzes it. How do you improve your reputation?
Yes.
What's the secret?
So again, there's never a silver bullet, but that's really about having a plan that's not a short-term plan. That we've talked to so many businesses that have run some sort of an incentive for their employees, and
I
guess
just
what?
need to get my reviews up.
And it works. It works in the short term, but you don't get that long-term benefit of the month-over-month consistency.
Yeah.
So again, the key strategies that we tend to advise our customers on is it's got to be consistent,
Yep.
and it's got to be easy for your customers. So again, a lot of businesses will print off a card or say, hey, will you please leave us a review?
And it's like a bit.ly link. You're going to type in all these ones and zeros and letters.
You
and,
got it,
yeah,
right?
Like
And-
nobody's going to do that.
Well, again, your customers may tell you like, oh, I have every intention of the world to leave you that review.
And they probably do. But they're
But then
busy.
what happens?
Yeah.
Life happens, so it gets in the way and they don't end up going and doing it. So we believe that text message is the most powerful way to help your customers leave a review. If you can get them a link to your Google page or your Facebook page or whatever it is in a text message, if you look at the data behind texting in general, I mean, it's by far the most common way that we communicate as people. And if you're able to leverage that tool to your customers, if you send them a text, 99% of the time they're going to open it.
Yep.
And a significant majority of the time they're going to click on that link and leave you a review if you can execute on that strategy. That's
Now,
the best practice.
It maybe goes without saying, but I'll just say it. Like, you have to do a good job. Because you don't want to have a bad review either, right? That's just as bad as getting no review, or is it even worse?
Well, so it's interesting, right? So you definitely, at Podium we always say, we don't make bad businesses look good. We just tell the truth about a business in a large quantity of reviews. So what that means is, to your exact point, like if you're asking your customers for reviews, you better do a good job because they'll probably give you honest feedback.
Yep.
Now, the biggest fear that business owners have is like, oh, what if I get that one-star review? That
review,
bad
yeah,
review.
everybody
oh,
freaks
man.
out. Yep.
Can you, and people have disputed them. They said, that's not my customer, that's
Yeah.
one of my competitors. And that's probably true, but you've probably also learned as a business owner that's really, really hard to get those
Yeah,
removed.
nobody cares. They're just like,
They're like,
oh,
well,
users rule here.
Yep, sorry, exactly. So again, the best defense for that is a great offense. So you've got to get those quantity of good reviews up. And most of the time, businesses are doing a great job.
Yeah, that's right.
Most of the time that people are going online and leaving you a bad review would have done it either way, and the only reason it shows and causes so much pain is because you don't have enough good reviews. And most of your customers are going to give you a good review because most business owners do a good job, and they want to do a good job.
So the secret there isn't so much to worry about the one bad review, because those are just going to come no matter how good you
they're
are.
going to happen.
The secret is just flood the zone with good reviews.
Yes, and again, that's kind of that weaponizing component.
The frequency that
It's
you
the
talked
frequency component that's going to be your best strategic advantage, and also tell the most accurate story online. So trying to go in and repair the past, like again, you want to respond to reviews, you want to do those things, but that pales in comparison to really proactively going out and getting more from your customers.
So sending a text message at the end of your job, job well done, can you please give us a review? Is there a best practice around incentivizing that, or is that actually a bad thing to do?
So, look, there's some of the third-party sites that have their own opinions on that. But
Yeah.
I think it's really a matter of driving behavior. And if you're working with your employees, there's a lot of things that we train employees on that for whatever reason get forgotten or lost beyond the way. So sometimes an incentive is just a great way to remind that employee to do it.
What about incentivizing your homeowner? Is
Yeah.
that a no-go? Like,
Well-
give us a review, and we'll give us a good review, and we'll give you a $100 Amazon card. Is that legit?
So again, the review sites like Google, Facebook, Yelp, they really try to protect against
They don't like it.
They try to protect against the gaming of the system, right? And most people are willing to do it if you make it easy.
Yeah.
It's the convenience that is so much more important than the incentive. Because again,
Interesting.
most people, when you do a good job, they want to help you out. And so by simply having a conversation of like, hey, if you feel like we've done a good job, it'd really help us out if you left us a review. And that really becomes the key. So it's less about the incentive for your homeowner, and it's really more about making it easy.
Yeah.
That is the key. If you can nail that, everything else takes care of itself, even on the employee side. So again, most of the time you're having to incentivize your employees to ask for that review because the asking is the scary part. So if you can make it easy for your employees to ask, or even just sending a link automatically, again, that's going to take away a lot of that burden of trying to constantly have to remember about that. And that's where you get those short bursts when you don't have a system in place to make it easy.
Okay. So what are the best ways to make it easy? Because, I mean, you got to start by asking, right? That's like first thing. If you're not even asking for reviews, they're not going to happen.
Exactly.
Then sending a text message.
Yes.
And inside there, are you linking to Google? Is that where you always want the reviews to go, or does it depend?
Look, my belief is that Google is, and I don't think I'm alone, Google is going to be where you're going to have the biggest impact. That's where
Yeah.
people are searching for
Well,
you.
certainly that's what the numbers show. right?
Exactly. And so, look, it's not a bad strategy to diversify, whether that's, Angie's List or some of the other
Right,
sites out there that
exactly.
are important. But again, if you just look at the sheer traffic and where people are searching, it's Google. That's where you're going to see the biggest impact.
So you put your link to your Google review there, and then now that customer gets that on their text, they're going to open it, going to click on it, and then they're going to be taken right to the Google form where they can fill it out.
Well, again, that's where I think some of the science and some of the providers out there can make a big impact.
Yeah, tell me about
a
this.
lot of business owners are trying to run lean, mean operations, and that we totally understand. But by making an investment in a system that can help manage all this for you, it's going to make that really easy. Because again, you brought up a very important point, and we're getting into the weeds here a little bit, but not all links are created equal. And there was actually a study done by Amazon that's pretty interesting about this. So I'll share the story that can then explain why this is so important. So in the checkout of your Amazon cart, it used to be a two-step process.
Sure. Yeah.
So back in the day. And what they learned is by simply removing one step, it increased their conversions by 60%.
Wow.
A single step. So when you're sending your consumer that customer that link, you may want to make sure that it has as very few steps in it as possible prior to them leaving your review. And if any of you are using a system out there, that may be an audit you want to take because if there's more than 3 steps, your conversions will really be impacted by that. And when I say conversion, it means someone that clicks on the link that actually goes and leaves you that review.
So I know this is something that Podium can actually do for you in an automated way. How's that work?
Yeah, so that's where a partner like JobNimbus becomes so important to that automation component, because when we partner up with a group like JobNimbus where you're monitoring all the things that they're doing on the kind of project management and the CRM piece, when that job is done, our integration with JobNimbus can automatically send out that link, and we have it all optimized.
Employee doesn't even need to remember.
Employee doesn't even need to remember. And so again, when you're able to automate that kind of stuff, it makes your life easier, and you get that added benefit of the frequency to, again, weaponize your reputation, not just manage it.
What is there any sort of percentage that you're kind of looking for? Like if you ask for 100, you should see at least 5 people review or something like that.
Yeah, so we target a 20% conversion rate at
Wow,
Podium.
okay.
Yeah.
So that could make a huge impact
Huge
just
impact.
asking
Yeah.
and making that text message happen.
Yeah, and especially again where maybe depending on how big you are or the volume of jobs, you can even optimize that to be even higher when you train your team just to simply ask.
Yep.
So if you're just automatically sending out the link, there's a certain conversion rate that goes along with that. If you're training your team to just ask and then that link goes out, it even almost can double that conversion rate sometimes. So it's those two components that you can really maximize and the results there. So
Okay, so just to kind of recap here, the reputation's lifeblood of your company. You've got to start by when somebody searches for you, you've got to make sure your star rating is a 4-star or higher.
Yep.
You've got to make sure you have a significant number of reviews, and there's not an exact number on that, but it better not be 2 or 3. That's for sure.
Yeah.
And you better make sure that you're getting consistent reviews, that frequency aspect of things.
You got it. Those
Love
are
it.
the three keys.
Love it. Okay, so we'd love to have everybody comment below on what you're doing to get driver reviews right now, or if you're not asking, what challenges you're having around getting your team to ask for those reviews. Comment below, let's talk about it and see if we can't come to some solutions together.